My mother-in-law showed up to help plan our anniversary dinner. I made reservations at his favorite restaurant, she said. When I revealed the surprise I'd actually prepared, her expression said it all. My name is Sarah, and I've been married to my husband, Mark, for 10 years. We live in a cozy suburb of Chicago, Illinois. Our marriage has had its ups and downs, like any other, but we've always managed to pull through. Mark's mother, Helen, has always been a bit overbearing. From the moment we got engaged, she inserted herself into every aspect of our lives. She insisted on helping plan the wedding, choosing the venue, the flowers, even the guest list. I tried to be patient, understanding that she was just excited, but it was exhausting. Over the years, her involvement didn't wane. She'd show up unannounced, offer unsolicited advice, and make passive-aggressive comments about my cooking, our home, and even our parenting choices. Mark, being the dutiful son, often brushed it off, saying, "That's just how Mom is." Our 10th anniversary was approaching, and I wanted to do something special. Mark had always talked about wanting to visit Napa Valley, California, to tour the vineyards and enjoy some quality wine. I decided to surprise him with a trip. I spent months planning. I coordinated with his boss to ensure he could get the time off, booked flights, reserved a charming bed and breakfast, and scheduled wine tastings at some of the best vineyards. I even arranged for his favorite local band to play a private set for us one evening. I kept everything a secret, wanting it to be a true surprise. I told Mark we were going to have a quiet dinner at home, just the two of us to celebrate. The day before our anniversary, Helen called. "Hi, sweetheart," she said. "I thought I'd come over tomorrow to help you prepare for the dinner. I know how much Mark loves my lasagna." I was taken aback. "Oh, Helen, that's kind of you, but I have everything under control." "Nonsense," she replied. "I insist. I want to make this special for you too." I didn't want to cause a scene, so I reluctantly agreed. The next evening, Helen arrived early, arms full of groceries. She took over my kitchen, pushing me aside as she began preparing her famous lasagna. As the aroma filled the house, Mark came home, surprised to see his mother. "Mom, what are you doing here?" "I'm making your favorite dinner for your anniversary," she beamed. Mark looked at me, confused. I forced a smile, trying to hide my frustration. After dinner, as we sat in the living room, I handed Mark an envelope. "Happy anniversary," I said. He opened it, eyes widening as he read the contents. "A trip to Napa Valley? Sarah, this is incredible." Helen's face fell. "Napa Valley? But what about the dinner I made?" Mark hugged me, thanking me profusely. Helen sat silently, her mood souring. The next morning, Helen was gone. She left a note on the kitchen counter. "I see where I stand. Enjoy your trip." Mark was upset. I didn't mean to hurt her feelings. I sighed. "Mark, this was supposed to be our special time." She inserted herself without asking. He nodded, finally understanding. Napa Valley was everything we hoped for and more. The vineyards were beautiful, the wine exquisite, and the time alone rekindled our connection. We returned home refreshed, only to find our mailbox overflowing with letters from Helen. Each one more accusatory than the last, blaming me for driving a wedge between her and her son. We decided to visit Helen to clear the air. "Helen," I began, "we appreciate everything you do, but we need boundaries." She scoffed. "Boundaries? I'm his mother." Mark stepped in. "Mom, I love you, but Sarah is my wife. Our marriage comes first." Helen's eyes filled with tears. "I just wanted to be part of your lives." "You are," I said gently, "but we need space to grow as a couple." It wasn't easy, but over time, Helen began to respect our boundaries. She still had her moments, but things improved. Our anniversary dinner, though hijacked, led to a turning point in our relationship with her. It forced us to confront issues we'd been avoiding and set the stage for healthier interactions. So, after we came back from Napa, we thought the storm had passed. We were wrong. A week later, I was cleaning out some drawers in the kitchen when I found a folded piece of paper shoved between two old cookbooks. It wasn't mine. It wasn't a recipe. It was a printout of a reservation confirmation, 2 weeks before our anniversary. It was for Mark and Helen. Dinner for two. At the exact restaurant Helen said she had reserved for our anniversary dinner. The date matched. The time matched. I stared at it for a good 5 minutes before I even processed what I was looking at. She didn't just want to cook for us. She had planned to take Mark out alone. I waited until Mark got home. I didn't yell. I just handed him the paper. He read it, then looked at me, then back at the paper. "I don't understand," he said. "This was supposed to be for all of us, wasn't it?" "No," I said. "It's for two. You and her." "That wasn't some backup plan. She planned to pull you out for dinner without me." His face changed. He was quiet for a while. "I'm going to call her." I didn't argue. The call was short, but I heard it all. "Helen, why did you book dinner just for the two of us?" "On our anniversary night." There was a pause. Then, clear as day, she said, because I knew she'd mess it up somehow. "You deserve better than her fake surprises and overdone gifts. I wanted to remind you of what real love looks like." My stomach dropped. Mark said nothing for a second. Then he quietly said, "You crossed a line, Mom. A big one." He hung up. He didn't say anything else that night. We just sat in silence. A few days later, a strange email popped up in my inbox. It was from someone I didn't recognize, Lydia, claiming to be Helen's friend. She said she just wanted to warn me that Helen was going through a very hard time, that she felt abandoned, and that I should try harder to include her in our lives. I stared at the screen. Then I noticed the forwarded thread beneath the message. It was a conversation between Lydia and Helen. And one line stood out like a slap to the face. "I don't care what it takes. I'll make sure Mark remembers who really loves him." I sent everything to Mark. The email, the dinner reservation, the conversation thread. He didn't respond right away. Hours went by. Then he came home with a bag in his hand. He set it on the counter and said, "We need to talk." Inside the bag were photo albums of him and Helen, and one I hadn't seen before. Pictures of Mark's ex-girlfriend. All printed, all labeled, all organized. Helen had kept photos of Mark's ex in a box in her basement. He found them when he went over to pick up a few of his childhood things. On one photo, Helen had written, in pen, she would have been the perfect daughter-in-law. We were past the point of boundaries now. This wasn't just interference. This was manipulation, control, obsession. Mark looked tired, broken even. "I don't know what to do," he said. I did. "She needs help," I told him. "But first, we need distance. Real distance." We agreed to take a break from Helen. No visits. No calls. No emails. No middlemen friends sending messages. But then, the doorbell rang. And there she was, smiling like none of it had happened. There she was, Helen, at our front door, smiling like she hadn't just tried to erase me from her son's life. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. I stepped aside, letting Mark handle it. He opened the door halfway and didn't invite her in. "What are you doing here?" he asked. "I brought some of your old things," she said, lifting a tote bag. "I thought you might want them." He didn't move. "You could have called." "Well, you blocked me," she said sweetly, like it was a game. "So I figured I'd drop by." Mark took the bag, nodded, and started closing the door. But before it shut, she looked past him, right at me. "You'll see," she said softly. "I'm the only one who really knows him." The door clicked shut. We stood there in silence. I was shaking. The tote bag sat on our kitchen table like a trap. Mark didn't want to open it at first, but I couldn't stop staring at it. Eventually, he dumped the contents. Old yearbooks, some sports medals, a few birthday cards from when he was a kid, and tucked at the very bottom, an old phone. It wasn't his. I knew that right away. The model was older, beat up, cracked screen. He turned it on. Shockingly, it still worked. There were only a few texts in it. All from Helen. All to someone named Marie. Mark stared at the name for a while before whispering, "That was my first serious girlfriend. We dated in high school. My mom hated her." The texts? They were from Helen to Marie, dated years ago. "You'll never be good enough for my son. You're trash. Walk away now, before I make you. You have no idea who you're dealing with." Marie never told Mark. Mark reached out to Marie through social media. It took her a day to respond. When she did, she agreed to talk. They met at a coffee shop. I stayed back, but he came home quiet, pale. He sat down on the couch and just looked at me. "She threatened her," he said. "Back then. Told her if she didn't break up with me, she'd ruin her parents' business." And she did. She called the health inspector. Had them shut down for months. Marie broke up with me right after. My mouth went dry. I didn't know what to say. He looked down at his hands. All this time, I thought we'd just drifted apart. I started going through old photos on my laptop that week, trying to clear my head, and I stumbled into something that didn't belong. It was a folder buried inside another folder, titled Recipes. Inside? Screenshots. Dozens of them. They were all from my own Facebook and Instagram. Captions. Comments. Photos from years ago. And in every single one, Helen had circled or underlined something. My high school best friend's name, a bottle of wine I liked, my favorite sweater, a post from when I was sick with the flu. She had notes on everything. She had studied me. Mark sat next to me as I scrolled. He kept whispering, "No. No. No." We called a lawyer. Just to ask, was any of this enough for a no-contact order? A restraining order? Could we legally keep her away? The lawyer asked if Helen had ever accessed our home without permission. I remembered something. 2 months ago, I lost a bracelet. A silver one. I searched everywhere. I swore I left it on the dresser. The lawyer raised an eyebrow. Was it expensive? Sentimental? I nodded. He leaned forward. "Do you have cameras in the house?" We had one. Just one. In the entryway. Mark checked the cloud storage. And there it was. 3 weeks before our anniversary. Helen, with a key, letting herself in, walking right past the camera like she didn't care. And when she walked out an hour later, she was wearing my bracelet. We sat on that footage for a while. We didn't go to her. We didn't confront her. We filed a report instead. And then we changed the locks. Set up new cameras. Mark was furious. Hurt. Humiliated. But me? I was done being quiet. This wasn't about lasagna anymore. This was war. After the police saw the footage, they called Helen in for questioning. She denied everything, of course. Said she had a key because she used to dog sit for us. We don't even have a dog. When they asked about the bracelet, she claimed it was hers. That she bought it years ago and forgot she had it. The report stalled out. Not enough to press charges. Just warnings. That wasn't enough for me. So I made a choice. I wanted her to feel what I felt. I wanted her to be exposed. I gathered everything. Every screenshot. Every creepy note. Every message she sent to Mark's ex, to me, to her weird friends. I printed them. Labeled them. Made it look like a real case file. And then I made 20 copies. I mailed one to every single person she cared about. Her church group. Her knitting club. Her nosy neighbor, Patty, who always bragged about how Helen was such a kind woman. Even to her sister in Florida, who always thought I was the problem. Inside each folder, I included one simple letter. You should know who she really is. That part? That was petty. I own that. It took a week before she showed up again. This time, she didn't knock. She pounded. I opened the door, but kept the screen locked. "You little witch," she screamed. "You humiliated me." Mark came to the door and told her to leave. She shouted over him. "You think I care about some dumb bracelet? I made him who he is. You're just some stranger who got lucky. That's when I snapped. No, Helen. I'm the one he chose. I'm the one who stayed. And I'm the one who finally saw you for what you are. She stared at me, breathing hard. I gave him everything, she said. And you ruined it. Mark stepped out on the porch. No, Mom. You did. Then he turned his back to her and walked inside. I shut the door behind him. She stood there for a minute, then left. That was the last time we saw her in person. Months passed. We didn't hear from her. We later found out she lost her church leadership position. Her knitting circle replaced her. Even her sister stopped speaking to her. It wasn't just because of me. People finally saw through her mask. Some even apologized to me for believing her lies over the years. Mark started therapy. Said he had a lot to unpack. I went too. And as we healed, I had to face something I hadn't admitted. I let things go on too long. I tried to be polite when I should have drawn the line. I avoided conflict until the conflict swallowed us whole. I wasn't blameless. I enabled her because I was afraid of being the bad wife. 6 months later, we got a letter. No return address. Just a simple card. Inside, written in her handwriting, you got what you wanted. But he'll come looking for me one day. He'll remember who loved him first. I burned it. Right there in the sink. Mark watched it turn to ash. He didn't say a word. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel scared. I felt free.